question.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to 256 Garage. We got Drake's little 393 coupe Mustang in here. We've been putting the Holley Sniper setup on it, and we've got it on there, got it with a crank, and we're going to give you a little rundown of how everything hooked up. Instead of sitting there trying to do a video while we're mounting everything and hooking up wires and unhooking wires, we just got it all on there and got it running, and now we're going to show you how everything hooks up. Real simple, especially if you have the MSD ignition, and we're going to give you a rundown, show you how it works. Alright, first we're going to give you a little rundown of some stuff that comes in the box. Like they send you this little, it's a O2 bong, I guess you call it, and a little clamp so you can drill a hole in your exhaust and clamp that to it. Then you can screw the O2 sensor in there. Actually, the headers that we have on these, the headers on this car, they're the, shoot, I can't remember. I bought them so many years ago, and I run them on the race car for years, but they actually have the bongs in them already for the O2 sensors. So all we got to do is screw out the plug and screw the O2 sensor in, and we don't have to use this right here. So you don't have to worry about no leaking or anything like that. Then here's your wiring harness, plugs into it also for the control. I mean, you can control all kinds of stuff with the Sniper. I know we'll use this to control the electric fans, and we can set them to kick on and kick off. But we'll do that later. Maybe it's this one. Anyway, one of these do that. But here's a little case that holds the control panel inside your car. You can like Velcro it in there, screw it in there somewhere, and you can slide your control box in there, like up on the dash where you can see it. Comes with a nice Holley Sniper EFI sticker. Then here's your quick start manual. Go through your manual and check everything. You know, it'll tell you about setting your parameters and show everything like right there. Coolant temperature sensor, main harness, input output harness, display connector, oxygen sensor, all that. Let's see, there it talks about what I was telling you about the O2 sensor. Like I said, our header is just like that, so we didn't have to use that right there. We was able to just screw it right in there. But if you don't, you can drill a hole in your pipe, put that on there. And from what I understand, you want to kind of make sure it is either level or kind of up. Make sure you don't put it on the bottom, because if anything, I guess maybe like if you build up condensation or something that comes down through there, it'll make everything read wrong. And like I said, it just tells you about hooking with different distributors and ignitions. I mean, we use the MSD series, so it makes everything easy to hook up. And like I said, you use the gray wire out of here, and then the Holley has another wire that you use for your tap. Then talking about hooking everything up, I'll explain to you on the battery. Then it tells you stuff just to go through to set up your control thing. It shows you display. Here's like a quick rundown, and like I said, I'll show you on the car, but it talks about running to your battery, running to your fuel pump, to the switch ignition. Then it depends what ignition you're running, whether you hook to the coil or not. In ours, you don't use the yellow wire. Then it shows, like I said, the extra tack wire. Shows the display. Then there's the other plug that hooks to, like, see, you got different things that you can run off of it. Like I said, the electrical fan and stuff like that. Gives you recommendations for how to and how not to hook up wires. And yeah, definitely don't do it like that, because you'll have a mess. Make sure we solder connected everything. You know, we made sure everything's got a good connection, hooked it up right. So now we're going to show you on the car basically this. All right, we don't have the right fuel stuff we need, but we wanted to crank it so bad we couldn't stand it that we had our buddy John. He run us over a fitting that would screw on it, that hook into our rubber line. And no, this ain't the way it's going to be. We're going to get it hooked up right. We've got to get the fuel filter, because it had the when we was running the carburetor, it had the plastic fuel filter on it, and you crank that fuel pump up to 45, 50 psi, it's going to blow that little plastic filter all to pieces. But anyway, as you can see, we've got the Sniper unit bolted on. We got it bolted down in place. We've got our wire here that runs to our control. Got the control over here where we can mount it inside. Okay, we've run our relay for the fuel pump and the fuse. We've mounted them to the back of the firewall. We've run our 2 hot wires. You got one runs to the positive and one runs to the ground. You want a direct bolt to the positive and negative for the sniper unit. You don't want to go to a ground wire. You don't want to ground on the block or the firewall or anything like that. You want to bolt it directly to the negative battery terminal. So we've got that wire run from it, and the hot one you want to run directly to your hot post. You don't want to hook it into a wire that's hot over here or anything like that. You want your main hot and your main positive and main negative to the battery. If your battery is mounted in the back, you want to run a wire all the way to the back to hook it up. Okay, and then we got our pink wire off the sniper unit. Let me walk over here to the other side. Maybe we can see a little better. Okay, pink wire off the sniper unit. It runs inside the car to a 12-volt source on the switch. Yellow wire is not used. You do not use the yellow wire. Now we're running an MSD 6AL box. Anyway, we're running the MSD 6AL box and the MSD 8584 distributor for the 351. We've got them wired together, and when you're running them, it makes hooking up the sniper real easy. You run off your tack wire over here to the sniper. The tack wire to the purple wire, well, you got a little jumper wire, little jumper plug, I guess you call it, and then it direct plugs right into the sniper. You see the little purple and green off the sniper. You run from your tack wire from your MSD box to the little jumper to the purple and green wire on the sniper. Okay. Then you got you can't see it now, but right here, this plug off the sniper runs down to the O2 sensor. We've got the O2 sensor in the header over here, got it bolted in, got it all plugged up. And then here's your main plug from your sniper that plugs into your, like I said, your MSD box, your fuel pump, and your fuel pump relay and your main fuse. And then off your fuel pump relay, you've got this blue wire. Well, the blue wire runs all the way to your fuel pump back there in the tank. And it controls the fuel. That way the sniper controls the fuel. So you get it run all the way to the tank. We got it hooked in. Okay, then you get your fuel pump wire hooked up. Like I said, we've got everything else mounted. The sniper is on. We've got our accelerator hooked up. Like I said, we got our fuel. This is just temporary. We got to get some fittings to run from our aluminum line over to our sniper so we can put our pressure gauge and all that in it. Because right now our pressure gauge is mounted on the regulator that's back there at the fuel pump. And let me raise the car and I'll show you that. Okay, if you can see, everything right there is our fuel pressure regulator. And like I said, we just got this gauge temporarily mounted on it till we can get the stuff to mount it up there, because that's definitely never going to work right there because the rear end's going to hit it. But that's how our regulator's mounted. And we tied our blue wire, instead of running our blue wire all the way back here to the plug going to the gas tank, we actually removed the seat and found the factory fuel pump relay, and we removed the wire coming from the power of the car and hooked the Holley Sniper right into it. So the Holley Sniper is actually powering the factory relay. So I'm not sure on all that. It's actually, I guess you call it double relayed, because you got the factory car relay hooked to it, and you've got the Sniper fuel pump relay. So I don't see why it shouldn't work. If anybody out there knows different, that may give us some trouble later on, besides just 2 relays that can go bad, just let us know in the comments below. But like I said, that's the way we got it hooked up. That way we wouldn't have to run the blue wire all the way back there to the back, and we wouldn't have to risk hooking the wire in and having another connection back there that weather can get to. the connection in here, it'll stay dry. Won't have to worry about nothing like that. So that was the main reason we connected it right there. And we don't have a blue wire running all down along the body line. Okay, so like I said, we're going to hook up our positive and our ground and let everybody see the I don't know what you call this thing, the Holley board. Turn the switch on, give it some power. It's powering up. And as you can see right there, you want it to show stall. If it's got stall showing, everything should be wired up correctly, but keep your fuel pump relay unhooked and spin it over, and if the RPMs move, then you've got everything wired correctly and you're ready to crank. So we've got everything hooked up, everything's good to go. So we're going to hit the switch right here. It may try to crank because we've actually done crank it once, but if you can see what I'm talking about, see where it says stall? See there, the RPM started moving and it actually tried to crank. We'll just go ahead and see if we can crank it. Let everything power back up. Well, I can't hit the key and work the accelerator, but I'll get someone to help me and we'll hit the switch. Drake will hit the switch and see if we can get this thing crunked. I got a little video of where we fired it up, and John's working the accelerator and you can hear it run for a minute. But we're open headers right now. We've got to carry it and have some exhaust put on it. And that's why I'm going to give you another little heads up. You cannot make one of these run, or well, we can't. We've done 2 different ones. Or well, on the 3, we've done 2, and a buddy of ours put one on his Camaro, and we went over and tried to help him with it, and he had open headers on it, and it would flood like crazy until he got the exhaust hooked up on it. When he got the exhaust hooked up on it, it fired up and started running good. And that was the way the Mustang we done before, and that's the way this one's doing. It's open headers down there, and your O2 sensor is like right there at the end of it, and I don't know if it's so the exhaust just flows through it so fast, or what does it, or maybe the fresh air back pressure coming back, I don't know, but it makes them flood. So you've got to have exhaust, or at least enough pipe to get back from the O2 sensor. Open headers will not let one of these run, or it's what we've run into anyway. If you've made one run off open headers, I'm guessing it can be done then, but we've not been able to do it. I don't know, like I said, it makes the O2 sensor read wrong, and it just dumps the gas in there. But anyway, that's our quick little rundown, and let me go through it one more time right quick, because I went a little fast, but limited time and stuff to do, kind of get in a hurry, you know. But I'm going to give you one more rundown. Okay, like I said, a quick rundown. If you're running the MSD box and MSD distributor and it's all wired in, bolt your Holley Sniper on. You run from your tack wire, which is the gray wire, on these MSD boxes. The older MSD box just has the plug where you plug up for the tack, but these have a gray wire. You run your gray wire to the purple jumper that comes in the Holley kit, and then it plugs into the blue and purple wire on your Sniper. I almost said Terminator. I don't know why I said Terminator. But anyway, on your Holley Sniper, the blue and purple wire plugs into the jumper that hooks to the gray wire on your MSD, the tack wire. Then you got your main Sniper wire and plug. It runs over there to your fuel pump relay and your main fuse, and then your hot and your ground runs all the way to the battery. And like I said, hook them directly to the battery. Do not try to shortcut it. Hook them directly to the battery. If you have to extend the wire, hook them directly to the battery. And then your blue fuel pump wire off your relay runs all the way back and powers your fuel pump. That's the power for the fuel pump. Okay, the yellow wire is not used. Do not use the yellow wire. The pink wire on the Holley Sniper runs to a switched hot source. So you want to find a hot that is hot when the key is on and not when the key is off. And you want to make sure when the car is in the run position that it stays hot. So hook the pink wire into a switched hot wire. Then run your this plug. This one's not used for our application. I'm not 100% sure what it runs. I think it's to hook up for like the fans and stuff. And we will eventually hook our electric fans into the Sniper, because the Sniper will control it. You can actually take your screen over there, and I don't know if I can really kind of show you. I'm getting off, I know, but let me cut the switch back on. Let it power back up. You can go in there to the, I don't know how to get home. Can't remember. It's been too long. Okay, you can run in here to like the vitals or what I think it is, maybe. Go back home. Anyway, you can run and hook your fans, and you can set the degrees where, say, when it gets to 180, the fans kick on. It cools it down to 160, the fans kick off. You can set it up that way. But anyway, back to wiring this up. Then you take your control box plug, run it through your firewall, and it plugs directly into, and that's where you get all your info on your Sniper unit. So it's basically a pretty easy plug and play. It's probably one of the easiest plug and play, especially if you're running the MSD. Now, if you're running Holley's distributor that goes with the Sniper, it's pretty much plug and play and everything, but it's a lot more trouble, in my opinion, because you gotta get your number one up, and then you gotta rotate the motor like 50 degrees, I think it is, and then set your distributor pointing at number one, something like that. I can't remember exactly. We did it on Steven's car. But if you've got the MSD ignition distributor and 6AL box, it's easy. And like I said, you heard it try to crank, and I've got a little video off my phone that I'll attach to the end of this, of it sitting there running for a second. So we've got it now anyway where we can carry it and have exhaust put on it. And then when we get the exhaust put on it, we can show it running good. But anyway, that's everything hooked up. Simple installation. So now we'll get into the tuning. Hope everyone has a great week. Appreciate everyone checking out 256 Garage and how to install a Holley Sniper on your Ford. A little 393. Thanks everybody for tuning in. One part I forgot to list. I don't know if you can see it down in there. Let me get a little light, shine a little light on the subject if I can get it to work. See your coolant temperature switch down there? You got to put that in there so the system knows the temperature of the motor, and you use that to control your fans and all that, because Holley reads the temperature. The setup reads that temperature off that sensor, and it'll tell you everything that you need to know, or it tells the Holley Sniper everything it needs to know to run everything. So it knows whether to add fuel, take away fuel, this and that. Forgot to mention that in the other parts. Very important item. That's like it's flooding it. Okay.